Sure. Torqeedo has electric outboards from everything from kayaks to dinghies, tenders, day sailors, 1 horsepower all the way up to our 100 kilowatt is 130 horsepower. We're celebrating our 15th year of producing clean electric motors, and we have actually sold our 100,000th unit this year.
Wow, that's incredible. 100,000 motors. Whew. I remember back to when we sold the first motor in the United States. We actually sold it at the Defender warehouse sale, which is going on right now this weekend. But the very first motor we ever sold was when Christoph Bellin brought it over and folded up, went into a backpack, and we sold it right there at the show. But a lot of things have changed since we sold that first motor. It's a totally different product now. Can you tell me now what's what's the most popular motor you guys are selling?
Sure, Brandon. That's the travel motor. There's a travel 503, 1003, and 1103. The 503 is a 1.5 horsepower equivalent motor, and the 1003 and 1103, they're 3 horsepower equivalent. So that's enough power to push a boat up to 1.5 tons in weight. So it's quite a bit of torque that it generates.
Awesome. That's a cool little product. I have one of those myself, and we absolutely love them because it's just the kids have no problem with starting it. Forward, neutral, reverse, super easy to use. My kids grew up in a totally different era. They're gonna have no idea what it was like to try and start a gas outboard when you couldn't get it started and you're either trying to get in or trying to get back or just stuck where you were. They have it easy. Well, I guess can't say anything's easy today, right? But running one of these things is. So how long will one of these travel motors last on a charge?
So if you're going at full speed, which with a with a dinghy, you're going to get about 5 miles an hour. You can go with the 915 watt hour battery, you can go about 50 minutes. If you back off on that speed, you can get a lot more range out of it. So the faster you go, the quicker it uses up the power. The slower you go, the more distance you get.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, excellent. So in this travel series that we're talking about, how do you know how far you can travel on it? I am used to looking at my fuel tank and everybody else's and seeing how much gas they have, and they shake it a little bit and they know how much further they can go. How with the Torqeedo do you know how far you can go?
Sure. One of the great things about all the Torqeedo motors is that it has a GPS unit in some component. In the travel motor, it's a GPS unit in the battery that tells you your speed. I actually have one here, a travel 1103, and I'm going to demonstrate for you. First thing I'm doing is put that magnetic switch on there. And then as you start using power, you can see the watt draw going up. With the GPS unit that's in the battery, it would tell you your speed, and between watt draw, remaining battery percentage, and speed, it calculates remaining range. So the range calculator is something that if you know that you have, say 3.8 miles to get back to your marina, and you're going at full speed and it says you only have 3.2 miles of range remaining, you back off on the throttle and it'll grow right up to the 3.8 miles of remaining range. By backing off, you know that you'll get there and be able to go as fast as you possibly can and not really leave any energy on the table.
Awesome, Jeff. That's really cool as well. So now we got a few questions here from the peanut gallery, and just so everybody knows, thanks for letting me know about my background, but that was actually a conscious decision. So we got some fans that have actually watched all the videos already, or at least one other one. But we were thinking that we would try it without the background, but it seems an overwhelming vote so far seems to put the background back up. Everybody likes the fangirl, right? This side. Anyways. All right, so Jeff, back to the travel series. How much does that motor weigh?
So the Travel 1103, which is the most evolved in the series of travel motors, is actually a direct drive design, and as such, it's a little bit heavier than the others. Even with that direct drive design, which means that it's virtually silent. It has no reduction gear. It still only weighs in at 39 pounds. The 1003, its predecessor, which we still sell quite a bit of, is in the 32 to 33 pound range, depending on if you get a long shaft or short shaft version. So the battery, the lithium battery, which is part of it, you know, you break that apart and you're handing that off to somebody 15 or 11 or 15 pounds, and then you hand them the throttle, and then you hand them the motor. So you don't do 39 pounds of a handoff all at once. You break it into three different parts.
And Jeff, what's the heaviest part?
The heaviest part is the motor itself. If we look, I'm going to move down here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We have the lithium battery, which sits right up on top here. That lifts up and you can take that off, but it just sits right up on top. And then the motor head here, that's the heaviest part of it.
And how much does that motor head weigh, Jeff? Just curious.
If I did the math, it's somewhere in the mid 20s, like 26 pounds or so.
Gotcha, somewhere in that range. We got all those specs available at Torqeedo.com.
But the whole system is 39.
The whole system's 39 pounds. Cool. I noticed that there's a,
Yep.
you know, you've got the 1003. This is a question we get from consumers quite a bit. You know, you got a 1003 and the 1003C. What's the difference between those two?
So the C just means that it has the high capacity 915 watt hour lithium battery, as opposed to the 1003 comes with the standard 530 watt hour battery. So the C means that you're getting a battery that has 40% more range and 40% more lithium cells in there.
Oh, awesome. All right. So we're getting a few questions online here from the group chat, and one customer here wants to know, so how do you recharge those batteries that we were talking about? How does that process work?
Yeah, it's I'm going to move to the battery and just show you the little port right there. You just plug it in. You know, you actually take this off. I'm going to take it off and I'll walk it inside and just plug it in. There is a converter that you can get, but honestly, the charger looks like a laptop charger. I'm disconnecting these IP67 rated waterproof plugs here, and you take the battery off and you go inside, you know, you go to and plug it in right there.
That's excellent. Thanks, Jeff. So, you know, I'll just add that, you know, you can carry an extra battery if you want to, right?
Yeah, you can get a spare battery, and there is a solar panel that you can use to charge it as well. To be honest, it's a really slow charge, and your money's better spent getting a spare battery if you're going to be away from a power source for a long period of time.
That's a good tip. Those are big batteries. They take a long time to charge up on a solar trickle. That's for sure.
It's 15 watt hour battery is about an 11-hour charge. from it once it's totally exhausted. So overnight plus a couple hours, you can have it fully charged again. 11 hours.
I hate to ask this question because it's kind of a gotcha question. I always wanted to know the answer, and I don't think I've ever asked anybody when I was standing around an open house. But I know you can use the battery to like charge your cell phone because there's a USB port on it, and you can
Yep.
do that. But do you have any idea how many times you could charge a cell phone with that battery to give people an idea, a sense of how big it is?
You know, it's countless. I mean, thousands. Like 915 watts is a ton of power, and compared to how many times you'd have to, I don't know the answer, but it's a lot.
All right, we're going to ask the fans, the people watching in here, to we got 915 watts of power. How many times can we charge an iPhone with that? How many? And what else do you need to know from our spec point of view to figure that out? Whoever gets it right first, we'll send you a Torqeedo hat. Okay, so Jeff, I understand you guys also do engines for kayaks. You know, I know, and I've sold a few of them too.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about the kayak engines?
Sure. I actually have one right here. This is our new ultralight 1103 AC. It's actually the same direct drive motorhead as the Travel, and we've put it on this this mount that fits back of a lot of different kayaks have this 4-bolt pattern that makes for very easy installation. This particular kayak is a Wilderness Systems Attack 140, and we've tested it at speeds up to 7.8 miles per hour with this 3 horsepower equivalent electric motor. I can only get it up to, I weigh about 225 pounds. I've got it up to 7.1. With that, the range on this is on a kayak is pretty amazing because it's a very efficient 14-foot long kayak, and I've covered over 25 miles in one day of striper fishing here on Maryland's Chesapeake Bay. So it's a really nice tool for fishing.
That's awesome. Well, and the answer to our question is 1,000 phone charges. Congratulations, young gentleman, sir, there. You are going to be the new receiver of a Torqeedo hat. So, Jeff, back to the kayak motor real quick. Again, how do you know which one of these engines fits on my kayak?
Many of the fishing kayaks, the brands have adopted this bolt pattern that you see here. Initially, this was designed for the Power Pole micro anchor, shallow water anchoring system, but we've adopted it because there's so many different boats, like the Hobie Pro Angler has an adapter plate for it. The Hobie Outback has the 4-bolt pattern. Bonafide has the 4-bolt pattern. For boats that don't, I actually work with a welder local here in Maryland that makes adapter plates. But if you have questions on with the Torqeedo ultralight fit on my kayak, I would suggest they reach out to me through our Facebook page, Torqeedo Kayak Fishing. I answer a lot of questions there in terms of specific models, and that's just a good way to reach me.
Cool. So, Jeff, it sounds like you definitely do a bunch of kayak fishing. You're definitely kind of an expert in that space. I mean, I've known you for a while. I know that's what you like to do. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's like to fish, you know, in a kayak and with this engine?
Sure. What it really equates to is that you end up with more time with your fishing line in the water, whether you're trolling or whether you're into kayak fishing tournaments and you're trying to get to that spot before anybody else. You spend less of your time paddling and positioning, and especially with foot control steering, like you have with a rudder system on a kayak. We hook up these motors to foot control steering. It really allows you to hold on a position, whether you're jigging for stripers or dragging a jig on submerged brush for largemouth or whatever it is, it allows you to hold on certain positions in tidal flow, in strong winds, on river currents. It's just a really great tool to get you to the spots that you want to fish quickly, and then hold you on that position in fairly adverse conditions.
Awesome. Excuse me. Awesome. That's really cool. So, Jeff, you know, this is the first call we've done where somebody's been outside, and I'll say I'm pretty impressed because the quality off your phone has come through awesome this whole time. But, you know, in light of what's going on in the world today and that sort of stuff, can you tell me a little bit about, like, you know, just where you are and what's going on there?
Sure. I'm actually at my wife's dairy farm in New Windsor, Maryland. She's 5th generation dairy farmer here, and we're already pretty good at social distancing when we need to be. We have a freezer full of beef, a root cellar full of canned vegetables. If the power goes out, we got a diesel engine to run a generator, and we got a bank of solar panels over there to keep up with whatever power needs we have. So we do pretty well, you know, in tough times like this, and we don't need to leave because we have everything here that we need, which is nice.
That is nice, Jeff. You know, I just wanted to, you know, we've come on to our time, and I think it's really cool to be able to get outside and be on the farm there for this part of the interview. And, you know, I just want to pass along to everybody that the Torqeedo products are available at the Atlantic Marketing dealer base, which goes from Eastern Canada all the way down to Virginia. You know, if you call up most of your local dealers, they've made arrangements. You can find them on the Torqeedo website, where to find your dealer. But they've all made arrangements for, you know, most of them made arrangements for curbside pickup. And currently right now, one of our larger dealers, Defender, is having the warehouse sale. And they definitely have arrangements for curbside pickup. You can call and get a Torqeedo at a good price right now, and they can have it waiting for you when you drive by and pick it up with no exchanges. So that's for all of you listening, check that one out. Jeff, I just wanted to thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. Hope things, you know, are well for you guys out there on the farm, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.